give you some advice. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. And then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. He said, if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold it, know when to fold it, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the deal is done. Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser, and the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back toward the window, crushed out a cigarette, faded out to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. But in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold it, know when to fold it. Know when to fold it, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money while sitting at the table. There'll be time enough to count when the deal is done. You got to know when to hold it. We took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what their cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see your outer faces. For a taste of your whiskey, I give you some advice. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. And then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. He said, if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold it, know when to fold it, know when to walk away.
I was a fool for you, a fool for you. I was a fool for you, I was a fool for you. I thought you'd have called me, baby, just to see you'd be late again. I thought you would care about me.
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, this is the Sunday edition of the Corridor Transformation. And of course, your host here alone, yes. But of course, very determined, very committed, and of course, with a heaping set of information that, of course, will stimulate and, of course, edify. Have a wonderful and, of course, not only program, but an enjoyable one at that. Having regard to some of the hiccups, but we cannot focus. We must, of course, understand that we are at the winning pole, and therefore it will be foolhardy to, of course, for anyone to give up at this point in time. And here is where grit and determination will determine success, because, as we said, and as we continue to say, evil cannot prevail over good. We are the good.
All this time you've been playing with my mind. Now you're running out of time. Maybe my love means nothing to you. Maybe you see through the heart in me. Maybe all that you're thinking is wrong. Maybe my love ain't so strong. Don't be staring through those brown eyes. You must have seen that this was coming. 'Cause when I tried to talk to you, you turned away. Say you wanna dance. You don't ever want to argue. You wanna love the night away. But girl, I won't stay. You say you wanna dance.
Leave people business alone. Leave people business and mind your own. Leave people business alone. Leave people business and mind your own. You in my way, like a rolling stone, like stick and stone, cannot break your bone. But David killed Goliath with a sling and a stone. Samson killed the Philistine with a dagger. You got to pray every day. Don't be afraid, time is coming. Change your ways.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to take this very seriously. I have come down here to help the people.
What's in after what's in? Hey, what's in? All kinds. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's in though? What's in though? Show what's in. Yes. Ready for camera, right? What's your eyes on it? What's your eyes on it? The eyes on it. Don't run, eyes. Eyes don't run. You're running. You're so running. What's the man on? What's the man on? What's the man on? Eyes don't run. You get vexed. Go for okay.
So I've come to you today to tell Brother Sunday, I know in the ghetto you are a leader. And I know the youth and them look up to you and they follow you. I have come here today to partner with all of you. When the police and the defense force seeing them videos, they know as a fact that some of the youth, not all of the youth, not you, but other youth in the community have guns, have machine guns, because you are my brother, you are my son. I know you want to do well. I know you don't want to die. You don't want no bullet in your spine and sit up in a wheelchair for all of your life. I have come here today to offer you an opportunity.
Yes, indeed. Hines goes to the ghetto. The same people that Rowley on Thursday night, consequential of a knee-jerk action, and a bout of madness, the lunatic that he has turned out to be, and the what I consider to be the sociopath that he in fact is, $100 million. I don't know how they love this. Like, they have a fixation with $100 million, because I understand that Balize House is also $100 million. Where he get the money from, he will have to account to when, of course, they get the hell out of office. But here it is. His minister, the Minister of National Security, is in Bad Street, in the ghetto, where the problem is, because he said after there, he was going, of course, St. Paul Street. So he embraces a Sunday I am not as casting any aspersion on anybody, including Sunday or the other leaders in other parts of the country and East Port of Spain. What I have concern with is the hypocrisy. You cannot tell me that as National Security Minister, you go there and you, of course, not extend an olive branch. More than that, you want to open up the treasury of the country at the same time because you are desperate to show somehow you are competent when in fact incompetent cannot be masked, or should I say cannot be in any way undermined or covered up. That is what the problem is. And they don't mind because they know that the asses would be grasses. The asses would be grasses, they know that. And their mortal fear is the Kamala Prasad Bisesa-led UNC coming into government smarter than them, more intelligent than they are, etc., etc. Let's go straight, of course, into the lines. Let's go straight to the lines. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox Smith, pleasant good night to you and everybody on the live. Pleasant good night.
Yes, indeed.
So, Lennox,
hey,
I thought Rowley alone was embarrassing himself and people in the thing where I had to say, go on. You see the Indian lady who did I don't know if she was the MC. Who bring him on?
Yeah. She was the MC. She always does that. The entire cabinet is an embarrassment, so you have to be very specific because I can say that I will be at a loss as to which one you're talking about. So I'm glad that you identify somebody because all of them are total hogwash. But go ahead.
Right. That same woman, that same Indian woman, just before she bring on the Prime Minister to talk, that woman insult everybody in the audience. And when they get chance, they want to go like about an hour. No, I just telling you where you could go and look for it exactly. Okay. About an hour and 48 minutes or hour and 15 minutes into the program.
The
where she says, right, into the video, where she make a statement and she say that is a set she wanted to say right thinking people, but she say right stinking people.
Well, I heard Heinz make what I consider to be not a Freudian slip. You don't just call it a Freudian slip if you talk by accident. But I think it's the gods that has turned against them to such a degree that they send them mad. So who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad. So that is the episodes that they are facing, all of them. But go ahead, my friend, if you have additional information to give.
Yeah, and watch. It looked like she had it right down too. Because if you watch her eyes, it's like she reading from a script.
Oh, I see.
So she must. You understand?
Yes.
Because I watch it carefully. She read from a script. And the next thing before I go
ahead.
You notice any news tonight? I think it's St. Vincent, one at St. Vincent Top Cup, saying that the Trinidad music having an effect on the youths across there. I don't know if you get that news tonight.
No, I didn't.
St. Lucia. Yeah, St.
Lucia, okay. I didn't.
Yeah. The police across there very concerned about the music coming out from here, and I think one of the 6 bad artists are not saying he wants to start to sing positive music because he realized a lot of people out to get him.
Yes. It was in St. Lucia because I saw him complaining that he was not allowed to perform. So it's in St. Lucia. All right, okay. Thanks.
Yes, St. Lucia.
Yeah, thanks very much.
All right, Lieutenant listening.
Yes, indeed, my friend. But let's go back to dunderheaded, what I consider to be intellectually and, of course, mentally as well as cognitively in decline. Hines, it appears that he is now in a state that the psychologists and those geriatric operatives or persons specialized in geriatric medicine can now be described as in a state of senile. His senility is unbecoming because he is the one who regurgitated this amorphous crime situation where what? Where they say it was a mental problem. A mental problem. And therefore some kind of tablet or some kind of vaccine would, of course, cure it. But Rowley now come, in addition, of course, to initiating this amorphous and this, what I consider to be mentally and intellectually incomprehensible policy or statement, consequential, the consequence of which was a big, how much, 3 million they say, but we know it's more, is spent to host CARICOM leaders here. For them to tell us that not all mentally deranged or mentally impaired persons are criminals. Rowley and they try to sell that to us. And on Thursday, Hines, not to be outdone, because I will show you if you get me vex. When Hines was denying that Rowley said, you ever say, let me repeat, Hines is on public record and in the parliament of the country stated that Rowley never said that, of course, crime is a public health matter. Yeah, that is how mad they are, a bunch of lunatics. But let's go straight to the lines. President, good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, welcome.
Yeah, I called earlier on today to talk about this COVID lockdown.
Yes.
We have to try and do something about that. We have to try and do something about that with Rowley and them and that COVID lockdown again.
No, you're right.
To protest against that.
Yeah, what they will do is try, whilst they're talking glibly and of course appearing to be unconcerned, as they started in 2020, and they did, of course, and end up with not only a parallel at $22 billion, as well as, of course, a state of emergency and all kinds of public health rules to, of course, lock down the country so that they can have their political way. We will monitor. Yes. We will monitor, my friend. Yes.
Because I think our man tell me sometime either this month or last month, our old man leave America to come back home here. And they give him a vaccine in the airport, and in the next thing, man, they tell me I don't take the vaccine.
Wow.
So we are looking to all them things there.
All right, that's certainly well. That's a new one for me, but I will. We will get to the bottom of it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But let's go back, of course, to what I consider to be narcoleptic, sleepy, always sleepy. Narcoleptic Hines. And let me tell you only this. He told me that he used to smoke marijuana when it was not yet, of course, legalized as it is today, all in the savannah and so on. He came in my office in Juman's Drive and told me that. And I told you already, because all bars loose now, because they are so cold. They are so hollow. Imagine Rowley trying, of course, to make a joke, to try to get political fodder. And I'm going to tell you why he said what he said. When Kamala Persad-Bissessar, he said that, but when Kamala Persad-Bissessar, as Prime Minister, invited him to go to Mandela's funeral in South Africa, no doubt at the expense of the state, she could have refused. She could have gone on her own. But he is trying to make a mockery and make slight of the fact that she attempted, of course, to have him go ahead of the line by, of course, giving the officials who were organizing, of course, the transportation to go to the final rites of Mandela. This ugly, bald-headed, dragon-faced fella called Rowley is saying that he was, of course, for that period there, the husband of the then Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad Bisesa. The man is so disgraceful and so what I consider to be unworthy of being in the position that he would have held. At least he could be honest with that and said that he accompanied her because she allowed him to accompany. But instead, he wants to make a lampoon. A lampoon is a mockery, a caricature. Like those, of course, comics. He tried to make a caricature. But it was not by accident, I want to tell you. So just in case. The idea was to, of course, generate the race card. Understand that. He laid the foundation by introducing that, but of course went on that tangent. That ugly son of a gun. People invited you to have you get to the head of the line, so to speak. And as Trinbagonians, they represented, of course, the state, one as opposition and one as prime minister. She could have refused because in other words, if it was Rowley, he would have never allowed that. You know what I say? I say Rowley would have never allowed the opposition leader to sit down in the same coach with him if he was the prime minister at the time. Let us not waste time with this dunderhead, this, of course, macabre and cesspool rat called Rowley. Understand that. We must tell it as it is and we must give them what they deserve. They are not just disappointing, not just dishonest, not just engage in multiple conflict of interest and the raiding of our treasury for their own aggrandizement and their own party hacks and others. Once they fall within their graces, and don't tell me you don't understand what I'm talking about, you know. Because suddenly, Johnny Abraham is public enemy number one. And suddenly, the political leader of the NTA is, of course, another public enemy number one. When Rowley was in glowing terms as to why he appointed Gary Griffith as Commissioner of Police at one time, he seemed to have, in quick session, worthwhile friends. Let's go straight to the line. I'll have to take it from the phone because I'm not seeing it turning up on the line. But a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Go ahead, speak up.
Good night, Mr. Lennox Smith. Are you hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you clearly. I have to use the phone. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk about Mr. Ethelbert Hines.
Yes, go ahead.
And Keith Christopher Rowley.
Yes.
Now, Rowley come out with a set of lie, blaming Gary for the amount of guns he said was coming in through Gary, allowing that to come in.
Yes.
But what I want to say is, all this time, you know, this thing going on with Gary Griffith, and you ain't saying nothing? You ain't fire the man? You keep that a secret? And this 11th hour, you coming to tell the nation about this thing? Who he want to believe that? Look at how much people dead. And you coming now to say that? Well, it come like you uphold that? The upholder is worse than the thief. Well, you can't talk to me with that kind of foolish talk. That ain't song and good. What do you think about that, Lennox?
The man is desperate, and he is so desperate.
No, that can't be so. People supposed to tell Big Stone at this man.
That he has turned to a lunatic. He's a lunatic. He's a madman. He's a ranting, of course.
This man needs toning down.
Yes.
Look at how much people get kidnapped, how much home invasion,
yes,
all kind of thing going on, and you come in with that to show you could fool people.
Well said.
After now, they can't talk all this thing with the people that die in the pipeline. And next thing with both times, hear the foolishness he talking. Oh, they have international help to guard the waters from the drugs coming in. And out in the high seas, they seize a lot of cocaine, and so we ain't talking cocaine only, we talking about gun and ammunition. High seas is international waters. Trinidad and no international waters. We talking about we garden, we place with we waters and Venezuela waters. We don't have nothing to do with out in the open in the international water. That ain't to say you're doing something as a minister national security. We dealing with we international waters as all in the Atlantic Ocean, Lennox. All up in the Caribbean Sea. It's Trinidad, you have to lock down, you have to guard the waters properly. We're talking about patrol and patrol. What it is all you really doing? And coming to fool people to make them feel safe that they have international help guarding the place. That outside in the international water is not Trinidad and Tobago waters. But I could say some more, concerning them guns were coming in here from next door, right? But I watching something.
He knows that.
I watching something, right?
Yes.
Nobody can say because them people they next door is their friend, and all they set a million they go in and put towards crime. It's the same policy as the next one. They just fool the people in the ghettos. Give them all kind of programs to get kickbacks to share for oligarchs all over all them little island in CARICOM, all of them in the brotherhood, right? And I tell you, the going this east-west corridor is going to vote back, right? As long as the things stay with how the boundaries are, it will be something else. It will be hard. We have
it
to
will
get
be a long 12
as well.
months in 24. Don't write me
right? Also, we have to get international observers, and the only people could tell him he have to do it, right, is the Organization of Americas. So if the UNC continued to be sleepy, right, she could tell him as much as she wants, the leader of the opposition, as much as she wants, he was not going to listen to her. I will repeat myself. The only organization, the only people to demand that, and he will have to listen, is the Organization of Americas. End of story. Have a good night, Lennox.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Of course, I am not only a bit more circumspect, but I am aware that there are multiple mechanisms, elements, and institutions at work right now to achieve those very ideas and to put into train, because all who have a modicum of common sense and concern about Trinidad and Tobago and have a stake in Trinidad and Tobago as far as patriots are concerned, and of course the institutions that have been undermined, infiltrated, and subverted by this administration, all are working. Albeit it may be in different fields, but to achieve the very objective, who are working, of course, on the EBC and its international counterparts, and of course institutions to which it is attached, because they don't operate alone. And we can go on and on in terms of international, regional, and of course hemispheric institutions, including of course the OAS. Let's go straight to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
How you doing, boy?
Well, of course, as could be in the circumstance of fighting up with all of the unforeseen and the what I consider to be the accidental interference with, of course, our smooth operation to reach you and to give you the information that we are disclosing at this time. Go ahead.
You didn't tell me what in the PNM meeting Thursday night and they get both.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rowley get boo, but I see he boo somebody.
Did you get it both, Lennox? Because I see that MP get both, you know.
Yes, I see that. I saw that.
You really disrespect that person, but they say Shamfa.
Well, of course, they also say that Shamfa was not there because they tried to take out the cell, but I understand it was, of course, Dolly, the person who Arnold Roberts like to talk about that visited
red couch lady boy.
That red couch, yes, that red couch down the corridor.
Oh,
yes.
Like she was playing Dolly House and that's why she get both.
Well, if you would sacrifice not only your integrity and your femininity, I wouldn't say virginity, but femininity, and of course engage, of course, in extramarital exercises, and then of course you subject yourself to all of that, and I think that is appropriate. I am not casting any aspersions. I'm just using a generic statement. Go ahead, my friend.
Just imagine she had to go past Street Dog and the Parrot to get to that red coat.
So
well bad, boy.
Yes. Hey.
Heinz's biggest achievement is removing Gary, boy. Gary is public enemy #1.
Oh, yes. He and of course
all the crime
Johnny Abraham. Johnny Abraham has joined the list of persons who have a different view from Rowley and they, but have a public opinion, prowess, and currency. And he wants, of course, just like the $100 bill, he wants, of course, to discontinue their circulation. But that and a pink donkey you would not see. Go ahead, my friend.
Johnny Abraham had a meeting with Heinz 2 years ago, and he said that he put proposals towards Heinz, right? Put proposals for him, and he never acted on the proposal that Johnny Abraham gave him. So Heinz and Rowley a bunch of misfits. Them doing nothing. Them doing studying nobody with no crime. And the Prime Minister said he's going to spend $100 million on the army. You know, the army already getting paid by the state. Lennox. They getting paid by the state. We giving them $100 million to go and do what? To go inside machine gun kill all the army.
No, my friend, we have to be very, very careful with this, you know, because this is serious business. You're taking again $100 million, he says, and doing exactly what Manning did. And the situation turned out to be worse because those fellas are not playing, you know, because I'm talking about those gangsters and those persons who have generated the invisible borderline. They are not playing. They are going to take that money and, of course, continue to buttress themselves because, you see, it is a deep psychological as well as a historical as well as a generational issue in communities along the East-West corridor and in particular places like Diego Martin, right up, of course, to Arima, now that it has spread because we have, of course, other housing developments besides Maloney and La Hoqueta that has, of course, came into the play subsequent to the establishment of these institutions. It is much more complex than that. And we have to stop Rowley and them quickly, get them out of office as quickly as possible in order to really treat with this one because that is not sustainable. That is not sustainable.
You see what the Prime Minister of Jamaica was saying?
Well, of course,
He
yes.
is not going to fight none of these things with these gangsters at all.
That's right, and
That's
that is the
but
big
this is what
difference.
we're going to do there.
Yeah, that's
That
the
is
big
what
difference.
they're going to do up inside there.
They should leave
Because when
the
you give them money,
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry about
when
that.
they give them that money, more guns and ammunition coming back again to kill Tom, Dick, and Harry.
That's
Right?
all.
So the war will continue. That's what
right.
we're man do.
That's right.
Listen, you see this kind of thing that he talking about Gary bringing gun and Gary do this and Gary bringing bullets and all kind of thing. Like he say, right, this man, all the public don't pull up this man, you know. He say he went in a room, right? You hear what he was saying? And he said that people on a list for firearm users license, over 10,000 of them, he say. And he said all of them who was there had to pay a bribe to get on that list. And he was calling the amount of money and whatever. So why is this the police didn't investigate and arrest all who was involved in that corruption? Why this man just come out and talk all these sort of foolishness and the people that buy these things for boy, hook, line, and sinker? I don't understand why the press will pull him up on these things. And if Gary was doing all these things under his tenureship, he should have been in jail because if the ammunition and the guns reach into the hands of gangsters and gun runners and all these sort of people here, Gary responsible for that and he should be in jail too. You see, you're trying to tarnish your reputation is something else, but Gary take one step further because remember, this Prime Minister went to the Parliament with the email and falsify and misrepresent what he was saying there and bring down our government because of the lies, you know. And he was trying to do the same thing with Gary. Gary tell him, his man, come out in the public and talk it. Don't come in the Parliament and hide. Come out in the public because he damn well know what Rowley do. And if he make one misstep in the public to come and misrepresent what Gary do or say,
Common
you can
sense.
pull him up in court and sue him.
That is common sense.
So Gary
common sense.
one step ahead of he.
The bugger is hollow. He's a fraud. He's a coward. Rowley. All of them, in fact. Because all they want is to acquire government and therefore manipulate the law enforcement, inclusive the system, in order to make themselves look as though they somehow are deserving and can meet the standards that are required in order, of course, to deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And we have seen that they are total failures. Bottom line, total failures.
And this is why I like Gary for, you know. If you try to do anything stupid and then pull up your name and misrepresentation, you put your tail in court. You sue Rabarat a couple of times already.
And that is what has to happen. That's what has to happen. These fellas must understand we have to go to international. The last caller said it, and I agree. International institutions and so on. And of course, I have proven already on this program in our little corner of the insignificance, right, of course, in the troubled spot of Laventille. You saw, of course, we traverse the various institutions. What I didn't know that I have to, of course, take the lead at this time. That is now a necessity to write to and to, of course, engage these international organizations to impact on Trinidad and Tobago in terms of the rescuing of our democracy. Because this is what this is all about, and our economy, and of course, transparency and accountability, and put people in office that can manage the affairs of the country. Because per capita income, we are the third richest still in the Western Hemisphere, but we have a bunch of thieves, a kleptocratic group of individuals that have, of course, invaded and, of course, captured government. And so, clearly have two on themselves, have imploded, in other words.
It defecate on itself, boy.
Defecate, right. Nice word. Defecate.
This whole pariah matter, you know. Me seeing Newman George name call, and I seen the rest of the board name call. Like Piper asked by himself. Piper was with the board and they were making decisions. Why did that the other board members were implicated in this thing and they didn't get fired? I find Newman George should be called to account because he was there too, you know, making decisions. Himself and Richard Piper.
And on principle, all of them equally responsible. with equal responsibility and equal punishment should be, and one of which is that the entire board should resign from captain to cook.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, Lennox, they should go. But I want Anna Ramlogan to take this matter in civil court.
It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
He has to pick up this matter and take it to civil court and sue with him.
Yes.
Barrier for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Of course, we'll talk again. Thanks very much. Yes, indeed. And the caller before, with respect, of course, to guns and so on. This fella Hines is such an ass. It's such a compound, a piece of defecated material. I want to be as graphic as possible because the time has come. It must be a long, hot 12 months in 2024. Oh, how I'm sure all of us waited for it. So we'll tell them as it is. The time is nigh. And we have, of course, to release and to let loose all stops. They must not get a chance. They must not get a chance to conduct the narrative. Every time they come, whether they're Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Rowley, whosoever, we must manage the situation, and they must not get the upper edge in terms of the narrative. That is what they want, but we must not give them an opportunity. A pleasant good night to welcome, of course, to our external correspondents. Good night. Good night.
Good night, Lennox. Good night, Lennox, and good night to everybody on the chat. I hope you are hearing me good.
Lovely. Well done. Yes.
Right. Let us hope it hold out until I can finish my contribution.
Yes.
Lennox,
so yes.
The rotten gut lunatic.
Yes.
Feel everybody is him. Right? He come to cast aspersion on Mrs. Pasalbi says, Rowley mission is to destroy Kamala. But I want to remind him, he will destroy himself first before he destroy Kamala, like how he destroy Manning. Manning's spirit is taking a hold of Rowley now. That is why Rowley gets it on so mad. And we will see more of it in time to come. The rotten gut lunatic casting aspersion on Mrs. Pasalbi says that he was her de facto husband in South Africa. But you're not even Sharon own, Palace Rowley Kamala own.
You look for that.
You wasn't even Rosalind own. But you want to talk about Kamala? You see what happened to Rowley? That wajang, that geometry. He figured Kamala should be getting on like him, but Kamala is a decent woman. She's not going to go down to his level. And that is what aggravated him. And now we see Johnny Abraham and Gary Griffith now come out and join the UNC in the crime talk. It have them and see that all they could do now is to bring out a set of lies. But those lies, Lennox, are going to destroy that man. I have to live to see that. He probably cannot continue with his lies and survive. Surviving office, he cannot continue doing it. And now, Paria board, they have no shame.
Boy, oh boy.
From the time that report was laid in Parliament, Lennox, are you hearing me?
Loud and clear, man. Loud and clear.
Right. From the time that report was laid in Parliament, all of them should have resigned. But they have no shame. They're sitting down there, and the Lynch report accused them. Because he said that was no act of God. They killed those men, Lennox. And I am waiting to hear tomorrow morning what the DPP is saying. Because we hear Rowley Sober say that he passed it on to the DPP. We are waiting patiently to hear what the DPP is going to say. or how long he's going to sit and scratch on it. But on yesterday morning on the news, I heard where they were saying that Prakash has already started some action against them.
Legal action, yes.
Yeah, legal action against them. So if they feel Prakash sitting down and going to scratch like them, they better think again. Because something has to be done. Because just is how much year? 2 years?
Yeah, on the 24th of next month. 2 years, which of course is the expiry date for action to be taken in such matters. Yeah, so the government will pray and hope and of course drag the foot as they did of course with the fake oil matter.
Yeah.
The same
but
thing with the fake oil matter. They wait for the expiration and then have some self-righteous disposition on it. Go ahead.
We heard with sorry about that. We heard with the fake oil matter. Deborah Picks told him.
Yes, right.
Told Faris to appeal it.
Yes.
Something went wrong there and they did not do it. And you want to come and talk about Kamala government? Look at what all you did with Vincent Nelson. All you paid this man $10 million to lie out Anand Ramlogan and Gerald Ramdeed. But for Lennox, I want to ask a question here tonight. Where is Faris? The usually loquacious Faris, where is he? I find him very quiet.
Yeah. He's conspicuous by his absence of being visible.
Yeah. Because remember he was Rowley first sobers.
Yeah, they're winding down. Now because they know the inevitable is here. Yeah. So they're trying to put their
they know it's going to hit the fan.
That's right.
And you know, people keep saying they hope that Kamala get back there. Kamala charge this one. Kamala cannot charge anybody. They can make recommendations to the DPP, right? The new Attorney General, which will be Anand Ramlogan again, can make recommendations. But it's up to the PNM DPP, Lennox, to charge these people.
Let me tell you something, and I'm saying it here now from a professional perspective. The evidence is so compelling. The evidence is so conspicuous. The evidence is so irrefutable. And the specificity are misbehavior in public office. And that includes acting against the interests of Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be the decision to, of course, mash up Petrotrin and, of course, deprive the population of valuable foreign exchange, whether it be the fake oil matter, or whether it be the decision to invest the 200 million in, of course, Train 1, or whether a decision to purchase 200 million strong, the Massey Communications, whether it's Dr. Rowley and his cabinet ministers' recusal of over 500 times for friends and family, whether it be an investigation to determine, according to one judge, the kidnapping of a Trinidad and Tobago citizen from Barbados. And we can go on and on. You have too many glaring instances.
Too many
for them not to be found guilty. I'm saying it here now. So I am not perturbed whether it be a PNM, DPP or not. The evidence is such, and we have some very brilliant lawyers connected to and around the UNC. So what you want, what better combination and or formula you want to, of course, convince yourself that it is inevitable. It's just a matter of time. 2025 must
just
come
a matter of time.
Go. Yes.
But Lennox, look at how overwhelming the evidence against Faris, what Faris and the whole of the AG's office did.
Everything is there. They can't hide nothing, you know.
Miss Sendura, all of them.
They can't hide it, you know. They can't make it disappear,
and the DPP is not doing anything.
They can't make it disappear. They cannot make it disappear. Just as how Rowley cannot make his son disappear.
That is what they're hoping for, Lennox.
Yeah.
That is what they're hoping for.
Yeah, but listen, just as how Rowley can make his son disappear, nor the mother birth paper or the son birth paper can't make it disappear. So he prefer to remain silent until of course, retribution catch up with him. And I tell you I might be the first one to bring his ass before the court. Watch and see.
Yeah, I see something. Yeah, I hope so too, Lennox. And Lennox, let me tell you something, Just before Anand Ram Logan left office, that is why they were doing that to Anand Ram Logan. He was going to open back the investigation into Lake Asphalt against Marlene McDonald, and corruption.
Whatever.
And land it.
Whatever. As soon as they leave office, the investigation was both criminal and civil because we want back the monies that they stole. Why it is that Balize House could be costing $100 million just as that platitudinous and what I consider to be desperate attempt in futility, something that was already experienced. These fellas and them understand the value of history, and therefore they will wallow in their nonsense and they will pay the price ultimately, political, personal,
Lennox,
and criminal.
He will be worse. He will be worse than O'Halloran.
That's right.
That stain will be worse than O'Halloran.
I bet you he go Venezuela. I bet you he go Venezuela. Take what I tell you. He go in Venezuela. Dylan ain't going to Venezuela as ambassador for nothing. He go to Venezuela because he know they can't touch him there. Yeah.
Just like how allegations are, Stuart Young stepped out in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Right? Where is she? Where is what happened to that case?
System can reach them. The jurisdiction, the jurisdictional separation and boundary can reach them. Yeah.
He can stand up on every platform and spew his bullshit, right? And he will get his just reward. He can lie how much he wants. It will catch up with him.
Of course.
Lennox, thanks a lot and have a good night.
That's right. Same to you. Evil could never prevail. Evil cannot prevail. Otherwise, the Bible is a lie. The Gita is a lie. And the Quran is a lie. Evil cannot prevail over good. That is reality. And let's go straight, of course, and look at what I consider to be the comedian and the caricature people like, of course, Hines. And let us hear what they had to say. But, of course, inside of this, you have, of course, the Jamaican Prime Minister firmly reading the riot act to those very elements in Jamaica, similar to Trinidad, that are creating havoc, pain, ache, and criminal behavior. So they believe. Look at that book. Let's watch him again. You should come up Prince Street and see how people are dance. Beginning 2020.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to take this very seriously. I have come down here to help the people.
What's in after what's in?
Let's get him again.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to take this very seriously.
Never
I have come down here to help the people.
What's in after what's in? Hey, what's in? All kinds. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's in though? What's in though? Yes. Ready for camera, right? What's your eyes on it? What's your eyes on it? The eyes on it. Don't run, eyes. Eyes, don't run. You're running. You're so running. What's the man on? What's the man on? What's the man on? Eyes, don't run. You get vexed. Go for it. Okay.
So I've come to you today
And listen to
tell
the
you,
mook.
to tell Brother Sunday.
He goes to Bad Street and watch
I know
the very elements that we
you
are
are a
concerned
leader.
about, creating all kind
And
of
I
havoc in
know
the
the
country.
youth of them
Both guns
look up to you.
and, of course,
And they follow you. I have come
murders
here today
and
to
distress.
partner with all of you. When the police and the defense force seeing them videos, they know as a fact that some of the youth, not all of the youth, not you, but other youth in the community have guns, have machine guns, because you are my brothers. You are my sons. I know you want to do well. I know you don't want to die. You don't want no bullet in your spine and sit up in a wheelchair for all of your life. I have come here today to offer you an opportunity.
You understand where the 100 million is going? And Rowley said it. Let me repeat. Rowley said that is where the 100 million is going. You doubted me? You sycophants. You sycophants. Well, wait for the next video. Wait for the next video. And you'll hear Rowley saying that it is to buttress in an elusive program that he condemned years ago when he said that the Africans are the lowest rung of the socio-economic ladder, and more significantly and more ironically, and as if they are mad people, you control the treasury for all this time, and you don't know that you have, of course, disappointed and you have displaced. Well, if Rowley is sincere about 100 million that is supposed to go to these communities, then he must answer why it is he allowed the residents of Duncan Street recently, you know what I say? The residents of Duncan Street recently to be evacuated from that area if he was serious about containment. Come on. And worse yet, he must tell us whether or not when he went up to Lavantil, St. Barb's, and of course it said that 12 schools will benefit from school improvement, because he's so out of touch and he's so disconnected that he believed. Let's go to the line.
Pleasant good night again, Lennox.
A pleasant good night. Welcome. Yeah.
I forget what they mentioned this year.
Go ahead.
Rowley, I feel the Prime Minister will be listening to the program every night, you know. The same meeting what I had Thursday, you know what he mentioned, and I know definitely he'll be listening to you. He make a statement and he say, if he talk about Kamala and he say, if Kamala and them realize they have no PNM, they go create one. And they are getting ready to be listening here live, because you will be saying if the PNM if Rowland didn't have a UNC, they would create one. Well, he too long I said in the same breath.
Yeah.
He said it Thursday night.
I wouldn't be surprised. They're not creative.
Yeah, he will be listening here live.
Yeah. And so one would expect that. One would expect that. Yes. Yeah.
Doctor, I'm listening.
Yeah. They plagiarize even that. But I was making the point before the caller intervened, because it's consistent with what he was saying. When Rowley went up, when he first came into government and went up to Lavantil and told the people to wean off the government, that's the first thing. But of course, he said that 12 schools would benefit from school improvement. He's so disconnected. He is so concrete-hearted and bullheaded. Apart from being bullheaded, apart from being bald-headed. In other words, he is so stupid that somehow he equates the improvement, putting a coat of paint on a school and maybe improving or repairing the desks and so on in the school. He equates that as enhanced education. Education is much more comprehensive than that. So you notice he is silent. He is silent on what were the rewards coming out of that. Yes, they paid about 12 schools. But the fact that he had to, of course, generate an artificial situation and try to hide from the people of Trinidad and Tobago the fact that a certain ethnic group in the society dominates the first 100 in the C exam. And he was telling, of course, the population, the African community at one time, that, of course, these people were falsifying their certificate. But he can't say that now because the exam goes to a neutral country in Barbados to be corrected. And therefore, it will be based on the criteria and the marks. Based on what you did, your performance will give you the marks for the highest school or being in the first 100. That would have been, of course, at the apex of the exam. So what he does, knowing full well that he made an ass of himself and that he lied to the people, and he should be telling the people, the African community, listen, in the 1960s and the early 70s, the best doctor was an African, the best lawyer was an African, the best, of course, persons across the various, what I consider to be professions, were doctors, including, of course, he as a volcanologist and a rockhead. I would call him a geologist, a blasted rockhead, because he has learned nothing. So what he does, comes into office and artificially imposing a situation where the African community are being beaten academically and elsewhere in order, of course, to not being able, or put another way, to reach the stage where he Rowley had to say that he is disappointed with the African, not knowing that he has to point 3 fingers at himself first. 3 fingers must be pointing at him when he's pointing at Africans, because it is his party in government, the longest, that claims that it is, of course, African-oriented. But what we have seen is that they have been engaged, of course, in a vote bank scenario, and of course cause the deterioration of the will and the natural ability equal to any other group or human beings in this country. Don't matter where they come from, whether it's India, China, the United States, etc., etc. Don't matter where they come from, Syria and so on, that we have the same equal brain matter, and that at one time we dominated, so that CIC, Fatima, Queen's Royal College, and others such as Belmont Intermediate and so on, even Tranquility, were producing the best African brain and, of course, skills that you could get in terms of professions. And what has happened? Every damn thing has moved to either central or south. Everything. And residing there are where the Indians choose to reside, as the Africans would have chosen to reside in the north. The only difference is that the north is more densely populated, and that the PNM, through the assistance of the EBC, has been able to gerrymander and therefore generate a most asymmetrical, a most what I consider to be devastatingly biased situation in terms of the number of constituencies that are in the north along the northern range. About a quarter, if not a third, of the constituencies are along the east-west corridor. While, of course, when any election by way of party color. You see, of course, the majority of the country is plastered in yellow, and a small pockets in the north and the deep south like Point 14, just dots on the map, on the electoral map after an election, whether it's local or national. And therefore, that is untenable, that is unacceptable, that is wrong. And the EBC has a duty and responsibility to correct that. But because they are PNM oriented and they are satellites of the PNM, the ultimate result from such a devastating potential and real situation is the promotion of mediocrity. And that cannot work in our enlightened, technologically advanced and progress. And in the Western world, a Trinidad and Tobago cannot rely on the worst, the least, those who are unfit to manage the affairs of the country across the professions, whether it's politics and economic, and yet still Rowley and they are promoting that mediocrity. Mediocrity, where are we going with that? And that is why our quality of life and standard of living, how you go put people who don't know anything and dominate the Ministry of Social Development, dominate the Ministry of Agriculture, dominate the Ministry of the Attorney General, even the Office of the Prime Minister. You had to be suicidal as a nation. That cannot be. And Rowley and them, in attempting, of course, to reinforce that, to reinforce it, they stopped publishing the names of the first 100 from CUC because Rowley want to manifest artificially by his own construct the notion that when they end up in university and the Indians and them end up, of course, with their degrees and so on, Rowley want to tell the Africans and them that they are at a disadvantage because the Indians fake or had some godfather or had some unmeritorious access to their degrees. Oh, what a tragedy. Before you tell the blasted Africans and them, listen, get up and get. And the parents and the community must now look for their finest and endorse and support and provide, of course, the wherewithal so that they can compete. You cannot tell me that CIC, QRC, and Fatima were colleges that at one time dominated the academic spheres or sphere in this country. That only recently, and even though you reduce the national scholarship from 400 to 100, the two presidents awardees came from Hillview College and two Indians. Don't get me vexed, you know. Don't get me blasted vexed. How is that possible? It is only possible because of Rowley and their policies and programs, and the Africans along the East-West corridor hang on to a dribble and old talk. Wise, of course. On the other hand, industry, commitment, dedication. Whether you want to say that their family structure is an extended one, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that if somebody is doing well, there must be a mechanism within the African community to promote that individual and or individuals. You cannot try to cover it up. That is not sustainable. That is ephemeral. That is temporary. Rowley and others. Let the African community go. Let them free. Set them free. Rowley. Set them free. Hines and others, stop provoking the African community and let the people go. They are not your knobs to push. They are not your pawns in your politically nasty, self-serving, as well as, of course, promotion of your aggrandizement, your greedy onslaught on the resources of the country, and to share it among the 1% that you have created. You included a bunch of hustlers. Nobody knew of Rowley and Hines and they before, even Young and etc. But he has his agenda because he belongs to a particular mix, if you want to call that at minimum, ethnic group in the society. And boy, are they walking the system like salts. And the Africans continue to talk about the Indians and them and the Indians and them. It's Rowley and them who set all you up. Understand that? And therefore, along the East-West corridor, as we move forward and as we become more and more conscientious of the devastating brainwashing and the infection of attempting, of course, to use color of skin and texture of hair for us to remain loyal to a group of individuals who are literally criminals. The time has come. Rowley and Hines and this government and the PNM, stop provoking the people of Trinidad and Tobago and set the African community free. Set them free. You have no use to them. And while you have concluded that they are used to you, the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, this entire thing will implode and explode, and we will have a social upheaval in this country. Unprecedented. Imagine he has now to allocate $100 million to pacify. That has nothing to do with sustainability. How are you getting them, of course, to go to school and remain in school and learn their work? How are you getting them to do it? You have no plan. You cannot throw money and expect that will solve the problem. And utilizing people who do not have the experience, the expertise, or any experience in addressing problems like those. And don't tell me it's happening in Jamaica and etc., because the Jamaicans have a duty to address their own problems as Trinidad and Tobago has. That is no comfort to us and those persons who are dying on a daily basis and who are living a life of hopelessness and a cycle of poverty, hopelessness, socio-economic and psycho-cultural decadence that does not placate or does not, of course, allow for a resolution of the problem, particularly on a sustained basis. You know nothing. Get the hell out, because at least the UNC was much more successful at treating with that particular problem, and we saw that they were more economically viable as far as the distribution and the reception by more across the ethnic and social and station in life group than you, Rowley, and any PNM administration prior, because you have been given, of course, trinkets to the Africans just to keep them a piece sufficient, of course, to eat and to, of course, say that you are good. That is what's going to happen, Africans, and I say to you, you do like Tobago. You eat them out and vote them out, because they told us that already when Robinson, not being able at the time to use the race card because Robinson was an African, they tell you, of course, they maligned the man. They made him look like Satan was child's play to Robinson. They say that he put a dragon on the Red House and got the Baptist community to endorse that nonsense. And then when they put, of course, the dove that is there now, you don't know if it is defecating or if it is in flight. But a week or two after, just as Nikon was supposed to be a game changer, just as, of course, the diversification of the economy into, of course, tourism was dependent on, of course, sandals. Just as that, well, 3 weeks or so after they put the dove on the Red House, on the rotunda, initiated by Imsbert, who became the Minister of Works at the time, 13 persons died in the madhouse, in the mental asylum in St. Anne's, where Rowley ought to be. They should switch residents. Rowley should go to St. Anne's Hospital, and the residents there go to, of course, the diplomatic center. Because 13 persons died after that exercise. These people have been blight and cursed for a very long time because their intention is never to serve the people, serve the people. Vox Populi, Vox Dei has been abused, misused, and the ethos has been corrupted by these people who still claim that somehow they have credibility and viability, political and otherwise. Come on. Come on. We need to understand what is unfolding for government and governance. They have weaponized government against the people. And mind you, more than that 100 million was provided to Tobago. And Tobagonians say, just as the Africans along the East-West corridor, they say that mama guy will never work and will continue not to work. And they get rid of them. They annihilate them from Tobago politically. We have a duty and responsibility along the East-West corridor, to do the same damn thing. It does not waste time. And mind you, the caller with respect to the guns coming from South America, Venezuela, etc., in particular. You heard Heinz? You heard Heinz? Let's go straight, of course, to the line. I'll resume after this call. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah. A pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Night to you.
I want to say good night to everybody in live, everybody in chat regionally, internationally. Great show this morning with you and Mr. Khalid, Mr. Lennox, and great show tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, Mr. Lennox, you're welcome, Mr. Lennox. So, we in 2023. So, back in the 80s and the 70s, we used to depend on regular media, newspaper, radio, to get information. Now we have social media, right? Mm-hmm. And these people yet still not educating themselves. If we look at we're not going to talk about international, we talk more regionally. Look at all these countries, Guyana, Barbados, St. Vincent, all these people are diversifying their economy, trying to look to ways and means, not only to save the environment, but to make cost of living cheaper for the citizens so they could survive. The bad thing about it is that, Mr. Lennox, we, Trinidad and Tobago, had the resources that none of them have.
That's right.
The money that passed through Trinidad and Tobago, none of the Caribbean countries have. And right now, we're #1 in crime in the Caribbean. And this Rowley-led government is coming after UNC, but I wouldn't say UNC. Let's say Ms. Kamala had a crime talk with the public. It wasn't UNC because I see different people on that meeting. And then for Rowley now to come to politicize that in his meeting and have no solutions and no answers, and condemning, trying not to help this crime situation get better so that we could build back this economy. Hines say he went and changed light bulb. So Hines is an electrician, not national ministry. So he's an electrician. Rowley say he's going to allocate $100 million. So he and Imbut will deal with that. Because I know Imbut may be angry right now. He might be taking no calls. Because and they say they didn't have no money. So now, analyze it back. They say the UNC leave the country with 3 days of money. But no investment for 8 years, 9 years. But where they get this money from? The windfall? Citizens not get nothing from that. Right now, promises. Just now is American election. We're not sure what's going on if this Jagandas deal will continue. We don't even know what's going on. And now they're just trying to put a bandage on this crime just for carnival, just for the 1% to make money. Mr. Lennox, in carnival, what sells the most? Alcohol and water. Who owns that?
The members of the 1%.
Exactly. So people go on the social media and see how the Caribbean improving. And instead of you only coming with this bacchanal talk and looking for racial talk, and Rowley have no idea what's going on in this country. So people open your eyes and let me vote for policies and not for party. Thank you very much, Mr. Lennox, and have a good night.
Thank you very much, of course. And it will be remiss of me because he reminded me, thank you very much for that contribution. He reminded me because I was telling you why it is that he introduced Mandela and that what I consider to be Larry Joseph spotlight. But more significantly, he introduced it to race bait. Understand? He introduced into his discussion on Thursday. Can't help it. He is no different to a tiger that cannot change its stripes, and of course a leopard its spots. That's all they want to do because they believe all of us will hate the Indians and them. Hold your tail, Rowley. Tobago, tell you hold your tail. Hold your plaster, Tobago, with of course Kamala Prasad Bisesa and senior members of the party and Watson Duke all over Tobago, and the Tobagonian got real. They say, but it is these people, not the Africans, who come to Tobago and make sure that we eat, that we have food on our tables, and that we can pay our bills. Bills that all year the government increases willy-nilly, helter-skelter. And you don't know in Trinidad that you must classify Rowley as an alien, as a Tobagonian, who the Tobagonians run him. Don't you believe that we must run him back as well? And as Warner said, let him end up in the Bocas. You don't understand that? You don't understand that? Well, you will eat the blasted bread that the devil need if you don't understand that. Race baiting, he mentioned that. If you look at his introduction to Mandela, you will see where he tried, of course, to generate a racial connotation and then, of course, hit you the 100 million, but hit you in a nostalgic sense, meaning that some time ago, he wanted to introduce affirmative action, where you give, of course, a disadvantaged group a helping hand, a lifting hand. But he said the UNC was opposed to it. And now he's prime minister. But he was prime minister since 2015. Understand it? Understand what we are dealing with, you know, Africans along the East-West corridor, because this program is about the East-West corridor. Open up your eyes, open up your head, and take note. The man said that he was, and it's not for the first time, I know of it, but I always said, well, if you know And he said it when he was opposition leader, when he went up to beat him. And the police was, of course, raiding, beat him. And he went up there with some platitudinous, self-righteous, and pseudo association with an attachment to the little black boy, if you want to call that, Africans, and the people in the beat him and so on. And he said then, what he said Thursday is not new. I'm talking about when he was opposition leader, he went up to beat him and said that beat him was a unique place with unique problems, and you have, of course, to treat with it in a unique way with special attention. But what is the first thing he did when he went up to St. Babs and introduced this so-called school improvement program that is totally a failure? What he did, he said, "Wean off the blasted government." You can't remember that? That is how he sees us. That is how they see us. Are there to, of course, do their biddings. That is why Heinz felt he could have gone into the beatum when they were in dire need, abject need. The whole place flooded out. And he went there with his bare hand. Now, if it's me, and I understand what is happening there, even if I had to load up my car and spend my own money at $2,000, and of course I purchase some maybe $200 or $300 or $400 hampers or variety, and go up there and start to distribute, you think the people there would have done him what they did to him? But he believed that he is the great Heinz, and his presence is all that is required because they laud him. The egotists and ass that they are. And they get some dirty water. The first fella I know who engaged simultaneously in hydrodynamics and, of course, hydrodynamics at the same time. He acting as an aeroplane and at the same time a hovercraft because he ended up on land as well after coming out of the water. A hovercraft. He was just running on water, and if, of course, if you had to compare that with Christ walk on water, Heinz run on water. Run for your life. A set of backsides that purported to be intelligent. And you want to hit them one blasted clout because you know they're stupid. Look at him. Look at him there. And that could ever ameliorate or address the problems of this country when they are darlings to themselves and not getting down into the trenches and treating with the matter as Kamala Persad did when, of course, there was floods across the country. She was in her galoshes and she went there and, of course, delivering and helping, of course, clean as well. It's the same thing with Pandey. So the UNC has a tradition, and people like me will find and look and create programs in order, of course, to treat, and I will work for free. I will work for free. Because we see that you control how much money you want. The problem ain't going to stop. It's shame the shame. It's embarrassed the embarrassed. And their backs are against the wall politically. They know they have come to the end. They have come to the end. The people's tolerance is at its zenith. So they're looking to make a climb back. Too late, too late. Too late, too late. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, Lennox, it's me again.
Yes, indeed.
I'm listening to you about all the dirty water they throw on Heinz in the beacon. And they still go and vote for him? Answer me now.
Of course, but I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Yes, but the point I am making, I understand that, but the point I'm making, that they must wake up and understand. They may take longer than one expects. Yeah, they must. They have to.
Wake up.
They are human beings.
Wake
they must. Up. They must.
Lennox, I give up on these people for a long time.
I can't.
All that thing they were them with this flooding, they had all kind of tutu water.
all kind of thing, and they still go back and vote for him, and they will do the same thing next time around. The people in Laventille, Mova, Diego Martin, and even Tobago. Tobago just don't want them in the Tobago House of Assembly, the THA.
They want them in the
But
National
when
Assembly.
it
I
comes,
want to see that. I could bet you no.
I don't trust them. Them too. I don't trust them either. I just
bet you
talking
no.
with me. I
No
don't trust
way.
them either.
No way. No way. The
I
PLM
just
getting
saying
them 2
so.
seats. No way. No
Right?
way.
But you see these people in Port of Spain there,
I'll
they
take
go
the
Martin
chance.
and all these places,
I accept that.
East
I
West
accept that.
Corridor.
I accept
It
that.
ain't no dreams. It ain't no dream I dreaming, and I talking serious thing, you know. Right? And let's talking whole time about we want observers. That man, it's time people realize that man and he have no shame, he do business with what we say. It's to put these people in the tail. I keep saying it and I will continue saying it. And the strongest organization is the OAS because they don't tolerate countries that don't keep up to the democracy. They don't deal with Nicaragua. This is why they couldn't go in the summit. Cuba and Venezuela. And they're looking at this man. They can't just jump in. So we have to make reports. And it have a lot of things we could report. You mentioned some of it earlier on.
Yes.
Right? And this set are lagging. We have to start from now. Else we ain't getting nowhere. Right?
Yes. I agree.
Have a good night, Lennox.
I agree. But you see, I believe in the human spirit. I believe in what is called the existential philosophy, where human beings exist to control the environment and not the environment control them. And when there's a sufficient level of tolerance, you have to plunge back just as any animal. And human beings are no different. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night, Lennox.
Good night to you.
How you doing, Mr. Lennox? Lennox, I had some good news, man. Today
Yes.
I was the first time listening to Wall Street. You know, they have a show.
Yes.
And Wall Street was praising the UNC until sexy Gemma or PNM Gemma call him and ask him, Wall Street, tell me something. Are you PNM or UNC? Couldn't answer.
No, he's
she said this was a PNM. She said this was a PNM show, now only UNC people calling. Only UNC. So she will know if he is a UNC. So he is a UNC because he admitted now. He said he never vote for UNC, but he always vote for PNM. But what he see is happening, and he questioned Rowley. He had a lot of questions for Rowley about that 100 million where it going, to which gang it going to. And he also said something, and it's very important. You know, Rowley said somebody buy a gun for $40,000 from Gary, or while Gary was the commissioner of police, and he know how the gun was selling, and he know who was buying because somebody tell him the price. But you know, he never tell Ola. He keep that for how long?
But more
he
than
never
that,
tell none of the commissioner of police. That's the shortest man.
Yeah, but he and Heinz didn't tell us who are the people that they was hanging down Gary to get license for, including Arrange in Tobago. He tell me that either. So expect me to
no,
say
he didn't say that.
Yeah, well.
No, but you know, if Ola them was. If Ola did what she sold for just making that statement and saying people tell him that they buy gun for 40,000, and Heinz, big nose Heinz saying people buy pass, bus curfew pass for 5,000 and all. How people telling them that and them and telling the police? That's to show you how these guys just lie so much, man.
And
anyway, I enjoying your show, and also I listening live to Renegades on the TV.
I see.
Tonight,
yeah.
Tonight the judge on Renegades.
Oh, I see. All right, okay. I see them making some preparations there. I may well pass across there later.
And watch now, it looked like it only had 1 million people inside. APC people, Charlotte Street full.
Right.
They don't have space to put them people inside. But that's nice. I enjoyed the show again, as I say. Continue the good work, and I keep telling you, let your supporters and them start getting themselves involved with the UNC on the ground. We have to be, like you say, and I wish your dream could come true, that the first results come out is Rowley's seat and he lost it.
That's right. Yes, first result.
But
quick, they go
yeah,
back
but,
west.
Right, but to get it, the people had to get on the ground. They had to start working. All these people had, the nicest thing, and I feel so happy about this, man, because this was Pandey's dream to bring the two races together, and he did it. He did it, as much as he could have done it, because he was able to win the UNC election in 2000 on his own, with no help from nobody. It's just Ramesh and them mash him up after 1 year, but. Kamala is doing a good job by getting these races together and making the UNC a national party, because as far as I could see, it's almost like about the UNC population. Like we say, it's 400,000. I would say about 35% is African people. And that is a good thing. It's better for the country, because if the people come united, the same way the Indians and them could make the cow share to the best secondary school, they could do that for the black people too, or the African people, if you want to say that, because they come from nothing.
That's right.
They come from nothing. This year I'm going to be celebrating my 65th birthday. So I've been there a long time. I was there in ULF. Right. When they started, I was in Aranguez in the rain, in the mud when Club 88 started. I was in Aranguez when UNC started. It's not to say that I didn't like PNM or I don't like African people, but I was looking at the people who it's people oriented.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's all.
People don't want to get rich, they just want to be safe and happy. They want to be able to get food. They want to be able to children. If the children want to go cinema, they have the extra dollar to give them. The people want to work, they want to live. But because of the PNM decided to destroy them and make them a dependency community, that everything that they need or they want, they have to go to PNM. And if they don't vote, like somebody told me, the meeting in the Kwese wasn't a big crowd.
No. We had a bigger crowd than them. We had a bigger crowd when we had our community microphones on Evening the Ground report are talking about.
Yeah, but what they say, the crowd was URP and CPEP.
Yeah, well, quite apart from that. Yeah. And they had and they had to be motivated to clap.
Because they wouldn't get paid. You don't have to work when you go see Pep and URP, but you have to follow the leader. Whatever they say to do, you have to do, and you will get paid. Yes. But you know what I mean? I want to congratulate Kamala and the UNC for the job she's doing, because she really bringing these people together. Yes. And I keep hearing Mr. Riemann them saying that the UNC had to come out and Kamala had to come out. But them coming out 3 times every week. Like this today, I listened.
Go ahead. Finish.
I listened to the press conference with the guy from Sawabat area.
Yes, Saddam Hussein.
I listened to Gary and Munilal.
Yes.
I listened to the crime report that they had, Yes. So they have things coming out. But the people have to go to them now. They can't come to the people. The people have to go to them, go and get involved in the community and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because this time when UNC win, they had to win about almost all the seats, according to you.
I agree.
So they could do what they want to do, you understand? They don't need nobody's support or anything like that.
Yes. Yeah.
But continue to do the good job you're doing, and I'm so proud and happy for you, man, and I hope God keep you and keep safe and be vigilant as you is.
Yes, thank you very much.
And I want to thank you I also want to thank you for the person you are, man. Your mother did a very good job. Your mother and your father did a very good job. I'm so proud and happy for you, and I'm so proud that I had known you for a long time, because I mentioned that to you already. I know you more than 40 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Since you expose yourself. And we used to always say, look, the short man. That is the short man from Laventille. The short man from Laventille. Yeah, man. So I really congratulate you for the good job, and I congratulate your parents for making you the person you are. And I pray that God keep you safe and sound, man. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, of course, and same to you for 2024 and beyond. But of course, you know, our commitment is a long, hot 2024. Every month, every day, every hour, every minute must be, of course, focused. But I just want to disabuse and to probably throw into the mix, into this matrix, that somehow the PNM is infallible and cannot be beaten along the east-west corridor. I want to say that a person like me, when you are coming, of course, to say that something is impossible. I take, for instance, this program tonight and the fact that we set up the corridor transformation, they told me it was impossible too. They told me that MLIO was impossible as well. They told me that the many documents that you would have seen in terms of creating our own regional political party, whilst people measure success by absolute dominance, not necessary. Pandey didn't get the UNC to be where it is by immediate success. On the other hand, of course, there are people who are opportunists and will not work, but would manipulate and, of course, what I consider to be strategic opportunism. Rowley is such an individual. Strategic opportunism. And to a lesser extent, but nonetheless, Patrick Manning too. Yes, I come in there because Patrick Manning could not have ever been the leader of the PNM. Never. Worse yet, Rowley, he couldn't enter the door of the PNM if they didn't get that solid curtail in 1986. And I come in there because in politics, history have a way of repeating itself. But there's another factor that has motivated me and tells me that at the end of the day, the people will eventually rise up. I'm talking about politically. I'm talking about political sensitivity. I'm talking about political consciousness. I'm talking about vote. That's what I'm talking about. You see, in 1986, 33, PNM devastated. Manning came in. Never thought he could have been the head of the PNM. And just in case you're in doubt, tell me something. If Kamaluddin Mohammed didn't lose his seat, if Aaron Mahabir didn't lose his seat, if, of course, John Donaldson didn't lose a seat, even Desmond Carty didn't lose a seat, if Chambers didn't lose a seat, tell me, or could Manning have been the leader of the PNM? And worse yet, what I consider to be an outsider like Rowley. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello?
Welcome to the corridor. Hearing you loud and clear. Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, Lennox, sorry about that.
Yes.
Lennox, one for the road.
Go ahead.
You remember in, I think it was 1992,
yes,
when Rowley went up against Manning for leadership of the PNM.
Right.
How did they run him from Balize House?
Yes.
They run him from the convention center that year. He had to jump through a window. And I am telling you, third time will be a charm. They will run him. They will do him worse than what they did Patrick Manning in Balize House.
That's right. Yes, you're right.
They will chase him like a dog out of Balize House.
That's right.
And Lennox, let me tell you something tonight here before I go. Hello?
Go ahead. Loud and clear. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody's saying Patrick won us. But I want to say tonight, Patrick Manning will never rest in peace. for putting Rowley on the citizens of this country.
Yes.
Because if Manning knew what Rowley was doing since 1980, when he ran him out of the Diego Martin office, what he did in Diego Martin, right? If he had put him out of the PNM in 2007, we would have never been in this situation here today. And he turned around. He know what Rowley said about him. And he still turned around and went and vote for the PNM. Vote for Rowley. That put Rowley in office today, that doing what he's doing to us.
Yeah,
Patrick Manning is to be blamed for it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Patrick himself being categorized as I've done. Opportunistic never would have been considered if the stalwarts had any of the stalwarts had won their seat, except of course Donovan McDavison was not, of course, leadership material as far as the party is concerned. So Manning came in and of course and took that role from both her and Maurice Marshall. But the other factor that make me very optimistic about the current and the existential situation is this: that while in 1986 and leading up there too, the state, the government, the party in government would have been able, of course, to manipulate information dissemination by way of the traditional, what we call today the traditional media, whether it be newspaper, television, or radio. In contemporary and modern Trinidad and Tobago, here am I. If I want, I could go whole day. Not that everybody who I would like to reach would be tuned in. But what I know for a fact is that these facilitation, these communication will certainly have an impact in terms of telling until, of course, the conflagration of awareness takes place. So we have the benefit of social media, in other words, to send the message is something that Rowley and they would have at one time captured and have in the palm of their hands and manipulate and say when, how, and so on. And the news medias themselves would give you at 2 seconds. I have been there. There are many times I get blank because they run out of time. Even when they said that I have been slated to, of course, be on a TV program, whether it's TV6, whether it's TTT, whether, of course, it's CNC3 and other traditional medias, some of which, of course, have expired. But, of course, because I can talk at will and at length to, of course, and reach all and sundry, because everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, I'm certain, have a device. And if they are so inclined along the east-west corridor, as we are seeing, they are going to tune in. So the message is going out there. So the manipulation of the message and the PNM propaganda is now being not only reduced, not only eroded, but it's totally being dissipated and decimated. Understand? So there is a factor that most people will not look at, but of course, as you will realize, I've looked at it, and that is why I'm so damn optimistic. And apart from the fact that I'm on the ground, it's the first time in 2020, for example, and just before that, that I saw on Nelson Street UNC flag beyond the elections. And if you go in Laventil right now, on the Eastern Main Road, you'll see UNC signs, as was the case up to recently on Observatory Street in East Port of Spain. And on the beat-up, they make it a point of making everybody see a UNC flag when the time comes, when the bell is rung. So there is a movement, slowly, I want to admit, but forcefully, because you have an enemy that will not give up, and we must not give up either. That is why I'm here. You feel I can't take the weekend off? You feel so? I am again paid for this. But this is what is required to burn the midnight oil and to go the extra mile and to engage, of course, in extracurricular activities in order, of course, to make certain, in order for this program to have fresh material, I have to be myself up and up because I can't pay somebody to do it. So I have to do it. And I know that some people are saying, well, Smith, where are you getting all that material from? But I want to tell you, it's I doing it myself. And there are people out there, including, of course, Ms. Santa Cruz and others, who would send information. And based on what the topic is, and based on the seriousness or the exigency of the situation, I then, of course, put it together in a consumable form, in a palatable form, so that you can appreciate. So let me finish, of course, tonight's video, because there's another one that is even more, and I'll give you a little taste of that. We'll play tomorrow night, having regard, of course, to the fact that we started late. We started late, but at the same time, we we have already crossed, of course, 10:15. So I'm going to just take a little 10 minutes again. But let's hear what this buffoon called Hines, and how you have an idea as to how the money will be spent, $100 million, to, of course, buttress the very elements that are engaged in the mayhem, the harm, and the insanity that is Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, given the whole country from a world perspective, a place similar to a leopard island, a place that you must not be because of the prevalence and the commonplace and commonality of crime and criminality and murders.
They follow you. I have come here today to partner with all of you. When the police and the defense force seeing them videos, they know as a fact that some of the youth, not all of the youth, not you, but other youth in the community have guns, have machine guns, because you are my brother, you are my son. I know you want to do well. I know you don't want to die. You don't want to bullet in your spine.
Nonsense.
And sit up in a wheelchair
Compounding the problem.
I have come here today to offer you an opportunity.
Get rid of them and our problem is solved. Listen to Holiness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, how he
contracts to come.
dealing with the problem.
None of that will happen here. I want to say it loud and clear. We have already started to work with the JDF and the JCF. This will be a military camp if it has to be. There will be no extortion here, no illegal activity here, no controlling of site here. None of this government funding spending here will go to fund criminals. That link must be cut. Taxpayers' money can't come here. And people have name and list who don't come to work, collect pay, and then use it to buy God. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. This mustn't help build gangs. So those who have that in their minds, stay far from here. We have learned our lessons. We have seen where many government projects and other private projects, the criminals have sought to take it over. Don't put your eye on this one. The anti-gang legislation, we are perfecting it, and we intend to use it. So if you get work on this project, you better turn up and work. Want to be clear about that. If it means that I have to put JDF and JCF around here, and any man coming in or coming out has to be checked, and the roster has to be kept outside by the JDF and the JCF about attendance for work, then it will be done. It is sad that I have to speak this way at such an important launch. But until we put these things in the open and treat with them as it should be treated, it will always be continuing. Our generation must break the cycle. We must break the cycle.
So that is all this. This is the other, of course, the video that I'll play tomorrow.
Dr. Rowley took office, there have been upwards of 500 murders. But instead of addressing the country and important issues such as this,
there is the fear for safety and security for families in Trinidad and Tobago.
The opposition leader claims since Dr. Rowley took office, there have been upwards of 500 murders.
But I'll pause there and skip and go to the end of that, because I want you to see the difference between Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, reading the attack, as opposed to Rowley putting on kids' gloves. Both he and Hines. Listen to Rowley. You heard, of course, you heard Holness reading the attack to the gangsters and those who are creating havoc. It will not, what Rowley they are doing will merely enhance. It is not a panacea. It's a temporary lull. We have been there before. What they have done is generate almost as a culture, almost as a process that is cyclical. So they get on bad, they kill, the government come in, they give them money, they go on a lull, they cool down. When the money finish, they start back up. They don't understand the socio-economic and psycho-cultural and, of course, historic as well as the internecent. Almost genetic. Almost as if it is nestled in generational, where one family versus another family, and once your name, your title is that particular family's title, the next family know that they cannot be friends and that they are their enemies. You cannot legislate for that. You cannot put money alone and expect that to solve. There's much more than that. You bunch of asses. And you're going to see. But they hope that the temporary lull will last until they get into office. Our job is to show them that it will happen as Tobago did, and that therefore they ought not to be trusted. And take it, eat them out, and vote their tails out, because Trinidad and Tobago will not be better once they are there, and they must face the punishment for doing us evil, mismanaged, corruption, nepotism, and rank and unadulterated theft. But listen, you hear Holness, listen to Rowley, what he wants to do for those persons who are creating havoc at this point in time.
I will instruct the Minister of Finance to identify immediately $100 million to go inside those communities and do what is not being done, because criminals in there have taken control of those streets and those houses and are making it difficult for government services to go in there and give some people an opportunity for a decent...
Yes, sir. Listen to Holness. Listen to the Jamaican Prime Minister. Listen.
Put JDF and JCF around here, and any man coming in or coming out has to be checked. contracts to come. None of that will happen here. I want to say it loud and clear. We have already started to work with the JDF and the JCF. This will be a military camp if it has to be. There will be no extortion here, no illegal activity here, no controlling of site here. None of this government funding spending here will go to fund criminals. That link must be cut. Taxpayers' money can't come here. And people have name and list who don't come to work, collect pay, and then use it to buy God. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. This mustn't help build gangs. So those who have that in their minds, stay far from here. We have learned our lessons. We have seen where many government projects and other private projects, the criminals have sought to take it over. Don't put your eye on this one. The anti-gang legislation, we are perfecting it, and we intend to use it. So if you get...
Now, you notice they don't have an anti-gang legislation. We have one, but Rowley and them can't use it because I told them that you had to, you cannot legislate something that is not enforceable. You have to be a fool. Listen, Rowley, and they set the people of the East-West corridor free and the Africans free. Because when they turn, wherever you are, God forbid, you're going to feel the wrath. And listen to what Hines and Rowley is proposing to deal with the gangs and criminal elements that are creating pain, agony, havoc in the society. Listen to it. It is laughable. Why? Because we have millions, or is it that it's really for the PNM election campaign? Is it for the PNM election campaign? $100 million? Or is that a number that they just throw out to hoodwink the people in these areas?
Work on this project. You better turn up and work. Want to be clear about that.
Listen to Hines and Rowley.
That I have to put
respond to their
JDF
problem
and JCF around here, and any man coming in or coming out has to be checked. And the roster has to be kept outside.
That's the Jamaican Prime Minister.
About a
reading the right act.
It is sad that I have
taken in front
at such an important launch.
They put in
but until
army
we put these things in the open and treat with them as it should be treated,
that has been done before. I'll explain that tomorrow night.
Our
and on the ground report as well.
The cycle. We must break the cycle.
So I've come to you today to tell Brother Sunday, I know in the ghetto you are a leader, and I know the youth and them look up to you and they follow you. I have come here today to partner with all of you. I have come here today to offer you an opportunity.
I will instruct the Minister of Finance to identify immediately $100 million to go inside those communities and do what is not being done, because criminals in there have taken control of those streets and those houses and are making it difficult for government services to go in there and give some people an opportunity for...
There is the fear.
Yes, indeed. And of course, let's just play Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and her.
There is the fear for safety and security for families in Trinidad and Tobago.
The opposition leader claims since Dr. Rowley took office, there have been upwards of 500 murders. But instead of addressing the country and important issues such as this, the Prime Minister is running from his responsibilities.
I do not want to answer the questions as to why you have failed to deal with crime.
Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar adds that the PNM government has not delivered on any aspect of their 10-point crime plan put forward.
Well, of course, tomorrow night we will go into details on that. Right, so we'll play that tomorrow, so you'll get an appreciation as to what is happening there and some other information, of course. But of course, people, we have come to the end of tonight's exercise. It is now, of course, 10:28. Yes, half past 10. We started, of course, around 8:30. Anyway, so So you have been compensated, but I'm sure that it would have been very interesting indeed. Some information might be new to you. Others may need, of course, ideating or assimilating for you to, of course, process it properly. But what the bottom line that you should take away tonight is that $100 million will not solve the problem. It is an ephemeral, a temporary respite. And I suspect, having regard to this government, they wanted that to last until they go past the next election that is inevitable next year, if not preferably before. But we must continue, of course, to make it difficult for them to stay in office by, of course, informing the people and telling them that we have been there before. Tomorrow night, of course, you will get all of these specificities. That being as it may, of course, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And of course, you will see us tomorrow morning on the ground report. Andy, Mikey, and myself, of course. Andy still under the weather, but of course he will be in the background, and Andy, Mikey, and myself, of course, will control things, so to speak, along with, of course, newbie. That being as it may, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and of course, be safe.
I thought you'd have called me, baby, just to see you'd be late again. I thought you would care about me, said you were my best friend. Maybe you think I can't live without you. Maybe that's why you treat me so wrong. I'm not obligated to you. I don't want it this way. Don't be staring through those brown eyes. You must have seen that this was coming. When I tried to talk to you, you turned away. You say you wanna dance. You don't ever want to argue. You wanna love the night away. Girl, I won't stay. You say you wanna dance. You don't wanna talk it over. You wanna love the night away. Girl, I won't stay. It's not that I don't really love you. Girl, I just don't love your style. All this time you've been playing with my mind. Now you're running out of time. Maybe my love means nothing to you. Maybe you see through the heart in me. Maybe all that you're thinking is wrong. Maybe my love ain't so strong. Don't be staring through those brown eyes. You must have seen that this was coming. 'Cause when I tried to talk to you, you turned away. You say you wanna dance. You don't ever want to argue. You wanna love the night away. But girl, I won't stay. You say you wanna dance. You don't wanna talk it over. You wanna love the night away.